They tell you that when you get old, the thing you have to fear most is loneliness. They tell you to watch out for falls, for forgotten names, for the slow fading of the light. But nobody tells you to watch out for the people bringing you soup. If you're listening to this, maybe you have a nice nest egg saved up. Maybe you worked hard for 40 years like my husband Arthur and I did, building a legacy for your family. We lived the American dream. We started a hardware business in the suburbs of Chicago, expanded it, sold it for a fortune, and retired to a beautiful estate in Connecticut. I thought my twilight years would be spent gardening, reading mystery novels, and spoiling my grandchildren. But I don't have grandchildren yet. I just have my son, Michael. And then there's his wife, Sarah. This is the story of how I almost died in my own dining room. It's the story of how a mother's intuition is sharper than any knife in the kitchen, and how I found out that the person smiling across the table from me was counting down the minutes until my funeral. Let me tell you about Michael. He is my heart. He's a soft man, kind, gentle, the type who rescues spiders and puts them outside. He looks just like his father, but that softness has a downside. He assumes everyone else has the same heart he does. When he met Sarah, I tried to be happy. I really did. She was beautiful, I'll give her that. 10 years younger than him, with perfect hair and a smile that seemed to turn on like a light switch whenever a camera or a wealthy relative was around. They got married quickly. Too quickly. I paid for the wedding, of course, a lavish affair at a country club. I overheard Sarah complaining about the champagne brand near the bar, but when she saw me, she hugged me and called me Mom. "Thank you, Mom. We're going to take such good care of you." I didn't know then that she meant she'd take care of handling me, not caring for me. The trouble started about 6 months after the wedding. My husband, Arthur, had passed 3 years prior, leaving everything to me. The house, the stocks, the liquid cash. It was all in a trust, destined for Michael eventually, but fully mine while I was alive. Sarah started becoming obsessed with my burden. "Oh, Mom," she'd say over Sunday brunch, "this house is so big. Isn't it lonely? The upkeep must be costing a fortune." "It's paid off, Sarah," I'd remind her, "and I like the space." "But assisted living facilities are so luxurious now, like resorts. Michael and I could move in here to watch the property for you, and you could be comfortable." I am comfortable. When she realized I wasn't moving out, she changed tactics. She decided to help me right where I was. It began with kindness. Or what looked like it. Sarah insisted on taking over Sunday dinners. She started bringing over health tonics and homemade soups. She claimed she was into holistic medicine. "You're looking a little pale, Mom," she'd say, unpacking Tupperware containers in my kitchen. "I made you this kale and ginger smoothie. It's great for longevity." I drank it. It tasted bitter, metallic, like licking a battery. "It's the iron," she promised. "You need iron." Within an hour, I'd be in the bathroom, violent cramps, dizzy spells. My vision would blur at the edges, like the world was going out of focus. This went on for 3 months. I went from a spry 72-year-old who played tennis on Tuesdays to a frail woman who couldn't walk up her own stairs without gripping the railing with both hands. My doctor, Dr. Henderson, was baffled. He ran blood tests, but he was looking for viruses, for cancer, for autoimmune diseases. "It might just be age, Evelyn," he said gently, patting my hand. "Sometimes the body just slows down." I refused to accept that. I knew my body. This wasn't aging. This felt like I was being erased. The turning point came on a Tuesday. Sarah had dropped off a batch of her special mushroom soup on her way to a yoga class. "Make sure you eat it all while it's hot," she said, kissing my cheek. Her lips felt cold. I heated it up. I sat at my kitchen table, looking at the gray, sludge-like mixture. My cat, Whiskers, a fat, grumpy tabby who never liked anyone, jumped up onto the bench. Usually I shoo him down, but I was so tired. I dipped my spoon in and held it out. "You want somebody?" Whiskers sniffed it. He recoiled. He actually hissed at the spoon and jumped down, running out of the room. Animals know. I looked at the soup. Then I looked at the trash can, but I didn't throw it away. I poured it into a glass jar, sealed it tight, and hid it in the back of my fridge behind the pickles. That afternoon, I called my lawyer, Mr. Thompson. He's been the family attorney for 40 years. "Robert," I said, my voice shaking, "I need to make a change to my will, but first I need you to recommend a private toxicity lab." There was a long silence on the other end. "Evelyn, what is going on?" "I think my daughter-in-law is trying to expedite her inheritance." I stopped eating anything Sarah brought. I told her I ate it, thanked her for it, and then flushed it down the toilet. Within 3 days, my energy returned. The fog lifted. The cramps stopped. But I needed proof. Michael would never believe me. He was blinded by love. If I told him his wife was poisoning me without evidence, he would think I was senile. He would think I was the evil mother-in-law trying to ruin his marriage. I bought 3 hidden cameras. I hid one in the kitchen, one in the dining room, and one in the hallway. The next Sunday, they came over for dinner. I told Sarah I was feeling particularly weak and asked if she could make me tea. I watched the live feed on my iPad in the bedroom while she was in the kitchen. I saw her open her purse. She pulled out a small blue eyedropper bottle. She looked over her shoulder to check if Michael was watching. He was in the living room watching football. She uncapped the teapot and squeezed 4 heavy drops of clear liquid into the brew. Then she stirred it with a metal spoon, wiped the spoon, and put the bottle back in her purse. She walked into my bedroom with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Here you go, dear. Chamomile. It'll help you rest." I took the cup. "Thank you, dear. You're an angel." As soon as she left the room, I poured the tea into a sample vial I had hidden in my nightstand. The lab results came back 4 days later. Tetrahydrozoline. It's found in eye drops. In high doses, it causes vomiting, seizures, coma, and even heart failure. And in the soup sample, traces of crushed digoxin, heart medication. I don't have a heart condition. If I had taken enough of that, my heart would have simply stopped, and everyone would have called it natural causes. I sat in my study, staring at the paper. I felt cold. Then I felt hot. Then I felt a rage I hadn't felt since 1998 when a contractor tried to rip me off on a roof repair. She wasn't just greedy. She was evil. She was looking at my son, the man she vowed to love, and she was willing to kill his mother to get to his money. I called the police. I spoke to Detective Miller. I showed him the video. I showed him the lab reports. "We have enough for an arrest," Miller said, his jaw tight. "We can go pick her up now." "No," I said, "not yet. I want to do this my way. Sunday dinner is in 2 days. Come then." Sunday arrived. The air was crisp. I set the table with the fine china, the stuff with the gold rim. I put out the crystal glasses. Michael and Sarah arrived at 5 p.m. Sarah looked annoyed. "I thought you were sick, Mom," she said, looking at the elaborate spread. "Should you be up and cooking?" "I'm feeling much better, Sarah," I said, standing tall. I wore my best red blazer. I didn't look frail today. In fact, I have an announcement. We sat down. I had prepared a roast. Sarah had brought a salad. "So," Michael said, trying to break the tension, "what's the announcement, Mom?" "Well," I smiled, "I've been doing a lot of thinking about the future, about the estate." Sarah perked up. Her eyes literally widened. "Oh?" "Yes. I realize that keeping all this money is silly. I should share it with family." Sarah reached out and squeezed Michael's hand. "That is so generous of you, Mom." "So," I continued, I decided to update my will. I actually invited a guest to join us to explain the details. The doorbell rang. That must be him, I said. Sarah looked confused. The lawyer? Not exactly. I stood up and walked to the front door. I opened it, and Detective Miller walked in, followed by two uniformed officers. Michael stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. Mom? What's this? What's going on? Sarah's face went white. Not pale, white. Officers, I pointed a steady finger at the woman sitting at my dining table. That is Sarah, the woman who has been poisoning my food for the last 3 months. What? Michael shouted. Mom, you're crazy. Sarah loves you. Mrs. Sarah Jenkins, the detective said, walking toward her, please stand up. This is insane, Sarah shrieked. She stood up, knocking her wine glass over. Red wine bled into the white tablecloth. She's senile. She's losing her mind. Michael, tell them. I have video, Sarah, I said calmly. The room went silent. I picked up the remote and pointed it at the TV mounted on the wall. I pressed play. There, in high definition, was Sarah squeezing the poison into my tea. There was Sarah spitting into my soup the week before. There was Sarah muttering to herself in my kitchen. Die, you old witch! Just die already! Michael stared at the screen. He looked like he had been punched in the gut. He turned to look at his wife. It was the look of a man whose entire world was fracturing. Sarah, he whispered, you said that was medicine. Sarah's mask fell. The sweet, caring daughter-in-law vanished. Her face twisted into a snarl. I did it for us, Michael, she screamed. She's going to live forever. She's hoarding it all. We're living in a condo while she sits in a mansion. It's not fair. You tried to kill my mother, Michael said, his voice breaking. You have the right to remain silent, the officer said, snapping the handcuffs on her wrists. They dragged her out screaming. She was cursing me, cursing Michael, cursing the cops. The neighbors were all watching from their windows. Michael collapsed onto the sofa and wept. He cried like he was a little boy again. I sat beside him and held him, just rocking him back and forth. I'm so sorry, Mom, he kept saying. I didn't see it. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid, I told him. You're just good, and people like her prey on people like you. It's been a year since that dinner. Sarah is currently serving a 15-year sentence for attempted murder and elder abuse. She took a plea deal to avoid 20. Michael filed for divorce the day after the arrest. He's in therapy now, learning to trust again. He comes over every Sunday, but now we cook together. No outside food allowed. As for me, I'm feeling fantastic. I hired a private chef, one who comes with a background check and references. I rewrote my will again, too. Michael still gets the bulk of it, but I set up a trust. If he ever remarries, his new wife has to sign a prenup that would make a lawyer weep. I learned a valuable lesson, one I want to pass on to you. Generosity is a virtue, but survival is a necessity. Watch who feeds you, watch who pushes for your money, and never, ever assume that just because you're old, you're helpless. I'm Evelyn. I'm 73 years old, and I'm still the head of this table.